of the value for also, the verification process, and if there are ways how I can contribute, plug in a little more, or feedback and help or support and learn, I'm happy to do so. So that's my intentions. No distractions this week. Last week was crazy, and finally this one, I feel like things are settling into place and being more harmonious way. So that's me, and I'd like to. Oh, we cannot hear from Suga. So can we?
Oh,
No.
she's
Oh,
she's written something. That's so funny. Oh, she's in the library.
Oh.
Yeah, this is one of the things you wish you're on the Zoom call so you can write in the chat.
We can go to event chat, right? Oh.
Yeah, we could go to the Connect chat to use that Connect group as a chat.
Can somebody read it? Library, my kids.
She says she's in the library with her kids, and she's borrowing headphones that don't seem to have much of a mic. So she's glad to catch up, and she's wondering where the agenda is.
Okay, I will. It's in the Suga. It's in the Connect group channel. You can go find the agenda in the Connect group channel. It's a Notion page. Great. Okay. Yay. And you can chat with us there. Maybe we can have someone monitor the chat. And yeah, great. I will pass it on for you to Lauren.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my intentions are really just to check in and listen to what you guys are working on, and then help if I can. And then, yeah, also happy to talk about any of the onboarding guide stuff, because that's kind of an issue for college if we want to expand that.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm last.
No, I think Jess didn't go.
Oh, Jessie.
Jessie.
Hi everyone. Yes, so my intention for this call is to be more engaged, and also I will be recording and streaming the call.
Oh wow, that's great! Yay, thank you.
Thanks. And am I the last one, or?
You're the last one. Yes,
okay.
I think so. Kotabi didn't come today, but maybe he will show up soon. Yeah, so let's just move on to quick updates. And so I've broken it down to all the areas of the Connect group: the outreach, logistic, the communications, the strategy, the curation, and verification. So we'll just, if you have any updates in these areas, you can let us know. I have one update for outreach. Well, I guess a couple of, I continue to speak in conferences, not even updates anymore. But I've got Popcorn today, which is the organization I worked a little bit before. And Lauren, you would know this, that I finally nudged them to make donations to the people that they promised that they would donate to. And I told them that if they donate through the Giveth platform, they possibly will get gift tokens back if the project is verified. And there's one of them is on Giveth, and there are 15,000 about that to be distributed to like amongst 3 organizations that I know. So I can get the other 2 on board as well. And I think this is interesting because it's a good example of bigger institutional donor and using the Giveth platform and potentially have a win for them, because then they can actually get gift tokens and resupply their treasury. They're actually talking now amongst themselves to see, they were going to give fiat to these organizations, but now they're talking about possibly give through the Giveth platform. So if we can actually get, my idea is that if anybody who's in the DAO to DAO kind of connections, any kind of institutional givers like that would be interesting to engage. Yeah, So that's one interesting thing that's happening right now. So hopefully, if they give through Giveth, that's $20,000 worth of gifts. That's going to be on there. So logistically, anybody have any updates on that? Claire, you mentioned you did.
Sorry, I didn't catch that there. My internet cut out. Did you move on to the next point?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So the off-ramping document that is in creation has sort of sprung arms and legs and covered other different topics. And I'm wondering whether we could incorporate the sort of onboarding side of things into it and make a complete wiki style document for project onboarding and off-ramping. So, but in particular, I'm looking to expand the sort of network of contributors for this document, particularly in areas of different regions where I don't have a network or connections. Perhaps that's something, Lauren, Ahmed, you could help with. I don't, potentially. And also to, I guess this is a bit more for new business at the end, but I'll just bring it in now. Looking at ways that we can help projects who have lots of smaller donations in different tokens. So their donations are a bit scattered. They might have a little bit of Give, they might have a little bit of XDAI, but none of it is really enough for them to be able to access and use it at that time. And the other thing I was considering is there any way that Giveth could make use of these smaller bits of tokens within their general pool? So is there an option for maybe swapping some of these out? That's probably one for you, Lauren, as well, but maybe we should discuss that in more detail later on. And you, it's up to you. I think it's a point for now.
Okay. We can discuss it now.
Yeah, so Lauren, what do you think about that? What's your sort of understanding of maybe the reasons why, or has it been explored before, why we don't swap out some of their tokens and maybe give them XDAI perhaps, so they've got a stable currency, and we could maybe make use of the Give tokens in one of the liquidity pools?
Well, I mean, we don't have XDAI as a DAO, so it's like
It would need to be swapped. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to use like a DEX to swap out the tokens themselves, or some other way of swapping out the tokens. But I think it's just like, we're not. I mean, first the funds go directly to the wallet of the project.
Yeah.
So we don't have access to their funds, and like it's their responsibility to manage their own funds, and it's like we can't even go into their wallets and actually do any swapping.
No,
even
I
if we're able to. Even if we were able to, we don't really have like other tokens to swap their tokens with. It's like kind of like seems like crazy management that we should definitely never do.
I kind of understand that, and I get the reasons why. The only sort of problem that seems to be coming up quite frequently is this issue that a lot of these smaller size donations, they've got scattered donations in different tokens that almost makes it not appealing for them to swap it out at that time. I guess it's giving them an incentive to go out and fundraise some more. But I just wanted to put this out there, as this seems to be an issue that's coming up at the moment, and what do we do to solve it?
And I think that would mainly be an issue if it was mainnet donations, right? I mean, because if they're on Gnosis
The
chain,
gas fees.
Yeah, like like it wouldn't have very high gas fees, right?
No.
Maybe it's a guiding issue that. Yeah, this is a good question. Maybe we should submit this as a pain point
Yeah, I think
For
that's
users?
kind of where we're at the moment. It's just an issue that's coming up. And the other thing is, it's fine if the donation's been made in XDAI because that's stable, but any other tokens are sort of liable to bigger fluctuations, and it should be a good idea to discuss this with the projects and say, look, your funds are worth this on the day that you had it donated, but you need to do something to make sure that it's stable unless you want to use the risk.
Yeah, this is a
So
good
that is an
point.
area that I've covered within the sort of documents so far, but it definitely needs more detail around it and more suggested solutions, I think.
I think maybe even adding some kind of like explainer for projects as to like the difference between volatile and stable currencies, because maybe like for new projects they don't really understand that, because I don't know, in some cases people want to get into crypto because they like the volatility of it and like the potential of different things. So it's kind of like, what tokens are you getting donated, and like, are they volatile currencies or are they stable coins? And so I think just kind of like explaining that and pros and cons to each one, just kind of giving an idea would be really valuable in the documentation we have for projects.
That's great. I've done most of that already, or at least sort of started to put some meat on the bones around it, the stable versus volatile currencies, and also with a view to discussing some of the tokens that people are getting donated on the platform. So that's good.
This is a good point, because I told them to donate DAI. They don't want to donate POP either because they know that people are going to off-ramp it. So I said, well, if you want to donate through Giveth, you should donate DAI, so that you can, it's cheaper, or like XDAI or something like that on the Gnosis. And so that's what they're discussing. So if we have institutional donors, we could actually precondition them to donate in certain coins, actually, bigger donations. But yeah, Nicola.
Can we motivate them to buy more Giveth? Swap those currencies for more Giveth. So, well, I don't know if you guys are seeing what's happening, but I see that the price is really low right now. So that would be a good place to buy right now. So is there like
the projects to swap the tokens to give?
Whatever
That's a
random
good
tokens
idea.
they have in their wallet,
Yeah,
that they can
and then
go and
hold
buy more
it.
Giveth. Hopefully, I'm still learning how to understand this whole thing, but if it helps to create a little bit more of a buy pressure for the price to go back up, and then it's so low now, it's really good time to buy, right? So swap or swap. So that would be my question.
Yeah, so maybe should we open the issue for this, and to create some kind of guidance on, one is explain the difference, and also what is our recommendation that they do. It possibly is to swap for Give, or and then maybe somebody can, who would take the issue.
I will.
Yeah, and then maybe Claire, you would talk to a few people to see what is a good recommendation. Like I wouldn't have that knowledge. Someone who has the knowledge, maybe Give right now, swap all of them for Give. I don't know.
Do you have any thoughts on that at the moment, Lauren?
Yeah, I think I mean, we could encourage projects to swap for Give, but like if the main problem is like, projects are looking for an off-ramping solution, then like swapping it to Give doesn't really like help them in that direction. So it'd be good because it would create some buy pressure for Give. But I think like what we could like explain to projects is like they could either sell their tokens for stables, like swap them for stables, or they could look for other ways of like gaining an interest on their tokens. Like if projects get Give donated to them, they could go into the Give farm and stake them and earn a yield. So even if the Give token price goes down like 5%, they're earning 100% yield on their tokens. So it's like, it really like makes up for that balance. So I think mentioning that would be really valuable. Like kind of like not mentioning, like not going too deep down like the DeFi rabbit hole, but at least like if you get donated in Give, because like a lot of our donations are in Give, it's like you could make use of the Give farm staking and earn a yield on your Give token. So even if the Give token price goes down, it kind of makes up for it. And then I would just like put some links to different like dexes where there's like liquidity on Gnosis chain. I'd send them to like Honeyswap or SushiSwap, and then on mainnet you could send them to Uniswap or Balancer, and then be like, these are some dexes where you can swap your tokens for stable currencies if you wanted to like maintain the value. And then like, I don't know, you could like give a link to CoinGecko where you can see like the price history of different tokens. So it's like helping to educate people of like where that they can get that information. And I would just really steer clear of like telling them to do anything specific, and like make it like abundantly clear that like this is not financial advice. So that it's like these are just some things you could do with your tokens. It's kind of like
just your options. I think the top two options are, one is to off-ramp your money, and two is to hold the money, because I do see that small projects, even the ones that I have talked to, they actually rather hold it because there's not enough, there's not big enough for them to off-ramp it, or there's specific tax thingy. For example, in Germany, if you hold it for a year, you're not subject to capital gain tax anymore. So it's beneficial for them to hold it. So I guess the general guidance is that you could off-ramp it, you could hold it, and there are some recommendations under each of these options that they can use to use the gift garden or whatever. But then there's a different tax implication on that one. To yield generating is a different tax in Germany, for example. So it's all it varies with the countries as well.
Yeah, I think jumping off of what you're saying, Melody, as well, is like a couple of people were asking in the forum, like, hey, how do I off ramp? I got donated 30 Give, like, how do I off ramp that? And like Griff was like, you should really not off ramp it until you've generated like $1,500 at least, because there's gas fees, like there's fees when you swap, and there's fees when you off ramp. Like Coinbase takes a cut, everyone takes a cut along the way. So it's like if you're trying to off ramp $15, it makes no sense.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. So that guidance, I think it would be very, very helpful. Yeah, great. So maybe we'll open the issue for that one, and then create that guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. And
I agree to that point.
Yes. Hey, Kodabi. Hi.
Hey, Ryan. You're doing? Sorry for being late. I totally agree to that point, and I think it's super good to give like suggestion or options, and it's super important to try not to look so like biased and just only kind of like give options. And I think some like nice narrative to have there. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was like about the Ethereum Foundation and how basically I think by staking their own ETH, they could have their operational cost covered, and that is a super nice thing to have. Like, so not kind of like making it like a suggestion, but like, hey, this is an idea, and you actually, so basically
an example.
Not going to repeat it, but this is a nice idea, and you can actually, you don't have to go like either 100% change, like making it into fiat or off ramping it, or 100% just taking it, just like play with that, and you can secure some of your future, well, maybe not secure, but you can wording is important. You can use staking and other methods like farming to kind of like have a stream for the future operations of your for good project. So yeah, and just a quick questions to Clara, since we're talking about this. I like what I sent you from the Mexican for Mexico. I cannot edit it, and I don't see it there. So I don't know, like, how do I edit it? Or how do I put this Mexican off-ramping thing that I did?
In the Wiki Notion document or in your original Google Doc?
On the wiki.
I'll look into that. I don't know the answer to that question at the moment. I thought it was available for editing at the moment, but I will check it.
Yeah, at least I didn't figure it out.
Okay.
Not
I'll get back
to,
to you on
I
that.
haven't used Notion too much, but yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to communications. So this is the one that everyone wants to talk about, is the onboarding guide from communications. And so Lauren, do you want to update us on that issue? I was in Lisbon for a few days, so I was kind of out of the loop. I saw an email going around and
yeah, so we actually just created the issue, and we thought that we would in the comms call, and we thought that we would like coordinate with you guys a little bit more about it. I think I put more details in the issue, but I can't remember exactly everything right now. But like the purpose was like to have a guide for like projects on like kind of like some basic things, like some of the things that we're talking about right now, and some of the things that like, you know, like with off ramping and like the guide that Claire is working on. I think this stuff we could like consolidate and have it as like a more easy on ramping guide for projects. Because right now we have like how to create a project, but then we should also suggest things like how to start raising funds and like, you know, how to, you know, suggest that they share the project with their donor base in order to start raising funds. And I think like some tips and tricks. That was the idea, but I don't think anyone actually took ownership of it, but I'll go check on the issue.
I did, and I was talking to Sim about it, but she's been a bit busy, and I was out for a few days, so we've just got as far as saying, yes, let's work on it together, but finding time to sync up has been a bit tricky.
Gotcha.
The main question I had around this is really what's the purpose for it? I think what you were suggesting is that it's something that's sent out when projects have been onboarded and then to and verified, and then it's something that they can share with their donors.
Yeah, I think it could be something that they. Well, okay, there's a couple of things. The idea was that we create it in our documentation, so we could like send an email to projects or put it somewhere that it's like an easy link, like when they're creating a project, there's like you can link to the documentation, but we would put it in our Giveth docs. And the idea is like, you know, add in some like also pre-written messaging on like why donate on Giveth to your project, like for projects, because it's like sometimes people come and ask this as well, like they don't really know how to like share the message with their donors, but it's like you could share the message with your donors that you could like donate crypto and 100% of the funds go directly to the project with zero fees. And like we create kind of like, you know, key phrases. Yeah, bite-sized phrases that they're easy to that they could easily share with their donors. It's like, why donate to my project on Giveth? You could use Gnosis chain and gas fees are a fraction of a penny. Like it's like things like that. And then also like to add to that documentation, it could say things about like to the project, like explaining to the project that like if you want to keep your donors involved, like add regular updates, and that creates like more transparency and a sense of trust. And like we can also support you with like meet the makers calls and like different amplifications, and we can create like processes for them to like connect with us as well, and where we can kind of like boost their signaling. So it's kind of like not just explaining, like, I mean, we have already documentation which explains to projects how to create a project and like what information to include in there, but we don't have any supportive documentation for like what happens after you create your project. Yeah, so this would be like that.
Gotcha. And my next question was, do we want it to be in Giveth Docs, or do we want it to be like a cheat sheet, like the one we developed for the design team developed actually for the user video success stories? Do we want it to be something a bit more like that, where it's got all the nice Giveth branding on it, or just exist in the docs?
I think I mean, I think either one, like if we make it like a nice Giveth branding thing that we can't like easily share a link to, then there's a limitation on how far it goes. I think we should put it in both places at least. We could make like a version that's like more designy and pretty that we send out when people ask for it. And but like I think having in the documentation has the added value of like it's like we can add that link in different places and it's easy for people to search. Like if they go to our docs and they search like resources for projects or something, it'll come up. And our docs is like are a great like conglomeration of like how to do everything, like a bunch of different things for using Giveth. So I think it's a great place to have it, but we don't have to limit ourselves to that and like not make it pretty.
Okay. No, I'm in the middle. Great. So what I'm hearing is that this document is basically happens after the project become verified, not really a guide to, how to sign up and that kind of thing. It's really about what projects can do to be successful and what we can do to support them with resources and guidance and that kind of thing.
And we could do it like not only for projects after they become verified, but projects after they create their project, even if they're not verified.
That's true.
Because it's like some things apply to just any project. And then one of the things in the guide could be like apply for verification and then you can get these extra things,
That's right. Yeah. So who owns this project, this issue? Because this really relates to a lot of things that we want to do as well, like the checklist that we want to give them. You could do this and that, and we could also help them to direct them to resources that will help them fundraise. So who owns it?
Claire does.
After project is created. Okay. Oh, Claire. It's a pretty big one. So should we do it? Like maybe we should do it together with communications.
Yeah.
So like our group and communication should own it together. And
right? I think that's a great idea. And maybe like a way we could do it is like if Claire, you put together kind of like first draft ideas and then like tag. Like I'd be happy if you tag me, I'd be happy to review it and add like some extra thoughts in there. And like Suga's a really great copy editor and also has like great ideas. He's working actively in communications. Our comms team is like not so many people right now actually. So it's like you tag us and someone will help. Maybe it'll be me. Maybe it'll be Suga.
Yeah, I'm happy to help as well. Just to provide that, how can your project be successful? How can we support you? Because there are lots of resources that we provide to people, and also create that checklist, perhaps.
Yeah, and again, what sort of messaging is attractive to donors ordinarily. So it'd be really good to get your take on it too.
Exactly. Yeah, and also like what can you send to your donors? What can you it's part of the checklist, right? Like send something to your donors that says this or whatever. Yeah. So, how do we move on with this one? I guess Claire, myself.
Yeah, I'll start putting some
in communication.
Yeah, I'll start putting some messages together, tag it in the issue, and get some sense checking over it.
Okay, and then we can just put our ideas out there first, and then we can. Okay, great.
Sim was quite keen to work on it. She's just trying to find the time. I think she's just had a busy few days, and now she's got a bit more headspace to deal with it, I think.
I have a question for the group. So I was thinking for this, do you think it would make sense if we use some kind of a CRM system or some kind of a way for us to track where projects are in the journey, I guess, of becoming verified and being successful? Because I think there's a few stages. Like there's projects that submitted to be listed. Then there's projects that are listed but not verified. Then there's projects that are verified but didn't get any donations. Then there's projects that got some donations. Then there's projects that are doing very well. So there's like maybe 5 stages. And then I think we should have some way of keeping track of how many projects are on each of these stages, and then if a project maybe got stuck on one of the stages, so then we can, you know, follow up with them in some way.
I think that's a really good idea. Can you please tell me a bit more about what a CRM system is, please?
So, I mean, it's something that's mainly used in like sales teams. It's a customer relationship management
Like
system.
Salesforce.
Okay.
Yeah, like Salesforce
Now I know
or
what you mean.
HubSpot.
Yep.
And I mean, there are lighter weight free ones that we could use. Like, we don't have to use something as advanced as Salesforce, but at least maybe to visualize how many projects are in, you know, each of those stages. I mean,
It's
that's
like
something
a
that
pipeline. Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's different part of the pipeline.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because looking at the projects, when I looked at the successful projects that we got, there was only around 25 or so that got more than $3,000. And there's so many projects that are, you know, somewhere, I mean, basically somewhere in the pipeline where they either got stuck in terms of raising enough money, or they're not sure how to get their donors to use Giveth. And there's a lot of things that we could basically do and see, like, where do the projects land?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's true.
And then, like, what could we do to basically move them along in the funnel, so to speak?
That's right.
I think maybe the worst category is the ones that, you know, just did something and then they stop engaging with the Giveth platform.
I mean, there's also like ones that maybe got lost. Like maybe they didn't get a donation like 6 months, maybe, and like we need to figure out why is that the case and what happened.
Yeah, and they get donation that's too small, and it will take them even more time and money to actually find out what to do with it, because we're getting questions like, what is the accounting guidance for this? What is the, you know? And then they will have to engage a lawyer and accountant and that kind of thing for $200. That's probably not worth it. So that's probably why they stopped, some of them anyways. Yeah,
I agree. I think that sectioning or classifying projects by the behavior or the kind of like results that they're getting, that's like an amazing idea. I'm not so sure about using a CRM, because CRMs are I mean, time consuming to maintain, and we have so many projects that I think that, I don't know, that will be super hectic and an epic thing to have. But, you know, I've been talking with Monique, and one of the things that he really wants to push forward to have soon-ish in Giveth is to have more tracking of the users, both, you know, for good projects and donators and holders and all of them, to know how are they behaving, if they are donating every month, if they are donating every round, if the project is submitting. So all these things, I think that they are super important to classify. And, you know, right now that we have Autopilot, we should have different categories of, you know, for good projects, like for good projects that have already raised more than certain amount of money, for good projects that have not raised yet, and then send specific mails and like cater our communications towards each of these audiences. I think that's super important. But yeah, having like a whole CRM to be updated manually, I think that's going to be impossible.
No, for sure. Definitely not manually.
No, not manually.
I mean,
no.
I mean, even like we could even have like a tagging system, maybe like like the easy solution is just to have, I don't know, like maybe 5 levels of projects. And we could say, okay, this project is like a level 4 project, which means, you know, that it got verified, but didn't get many donations yet, for example. Right.
That's right. Yeah. To have a that's easy to create. I can create stages, and then someone can implement it to tag them. Is that possible? And all we need is like regular reports on how many projects are they moving along this pipeline. It's really similar to the fundraising pipeline that we're obviously we are using a CRM, but in this case really it's just defining those stages. What do they mean with each stage, and then implement it in whatever we have right now.
Yeah, but for me, oh, go on, Nicola. Sorry.
No, sorry. I just question. If you see, since I work with Admin Bro and there are some filtration options, I'm wondering if that would be a place where this would be a stage, some sort of stages of projects would be able to incorporate, so we can easily filter that there. And I'm happy to support the process because I'm working at Admin Bro anyway on a regular basis, so it's an idea for now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think this could be one of the outcomes. We'll create an issue to define the stages of projects. I can do that, and Melody do it, and then we'll go from there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For Katabe. Did you mention something called Autopilot, I think? Is that a system that you're using?
Yes, we have Autopilot, which is the mailing tool that we have. So whenever someone makes a donation, that sends a trigger to, I think, what's the name of this? What's the name of the one that goes before Autopilot?
Segment.
Segment, right?
Yeah.
Like Segment kind of like notice it and says, hey, someone make a donation. And then Segment, when in Segment this, it says like, yeah, someone made a donation, Autopilot reads that and says, hey, I need to send an email, automatic email to that person. And then they can enter into a loop, say, hey, so in 1 week, I have to send a follow-up email telling them about the givebacks or something like that. And we have some journeys there. There's a few people that are working on there. Ahmad has access. I have access, and I think both of us, maybe he more than me, like knows how to use it like decently. So if you need anything for like automatic emails, you can ping us. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks.
Okay, great. So user research report, has everybody seen that? No? I'll just quickly share my screen. I've put it on the Miro board for the Connect group, which I hope is easier to for you to share your thoughts. So go live. And so the Miro board, this is embedded, so if you want to just read it, you can read it there, or you can go to the link and click on it and go to it and read it as a DAC as well. So this is the one that Tosin just finished, and it basically is a compilation of the all the findings from the interviews. I'm surprised to see there are only 8 interviews, I think. I was hoping for more, but there are some different levels of problems, positive findings, areas in improvements. So any thoughts? I have some thoughts. I already put it on here as a sticky. So I think people should probably take a look and give some feedbacks. Claire, you have any?
I was interested to see that some of the recommendations or the findings that came out of it are some of the things that we've been discussing, that we had a sense that these were issues or pain points. So it's nice to see that we've now got some sort of data to go on to show that these are indeed issues. And also, I think from the 2 main recommendations that came out of the findings, I think the first one in particular is an area where we can help quite a lot as a group. It's to do with new user onboarding and helping making that process a bit more straightforward.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit like I was hoping there's more people, more interviews, and yeah, like here's the insights. Yeah. Okay.
Were any of them projects or were they donors?
There's one donor which I even know who that is. One or two maybe. So that's another thing I don't see is the donor. Why did they donate on the Giveth, not anywhere else?
There was
Sorry, go ahead, Clara.
I was just going to say there were the interviews and there was a survey collected, wasn't there? There were some survey responses, so it's not just limited to 8 interviewees. That's the other thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that I was interviewed both as donor as creating a project.
Same here, kind of, yeah. But I was hoping to get out of this group. I was hoping to get data that is not within this group, which I think would be interesting because, we all talk with each other. We kind of know what we think. It would be interesting to have some insights that are completely like new people. And also like a donor research, like a donor survey would be interesting. So I'll suggest that to Tosin.
Do we know if the survey respondents were more external? I have to say I didn't look at the survey section very much to know.
8 responses, survey report. So that's not a lot.
Project donor. What else is in there? I can't see. It's my eyesight.
I think I wonder if this, like the survey itself, it's sent out by email as an email campaign, or it's just posted on our community. Because if it's just posted on our community, these 8 people would just be like the 8 people who have agreed to interview as well. Right?
Ask Tosin.
Yeah, there's some selection bias in that case, for sure.
So I was hoping that they actually send it out to everybody by using like an email campaign or something like that, even Twitter.
We could do that.
Yeah, maybe I should reach out to Tosin and ask how did they advertise this survey, because the response rate is like is there a response rate? How many people that you've sent it out to and how many people responded, right?
I think I did put it on Twitter one day. I remember tweeting it. So I think we did tweet it once. We could try tweeting it again. And then another thing that could be done, I think everyone in this channel is probably a unicorn. You can post it in the announcements channel and tag at everyone and be like, hey, at everyone, we're trying to gather some feedback. Like, please fill this out and it'll help us, blah, blah, blah. Like, put like a nice message to it with like nice colorful emojis. And then you can, the announcements channel is also hooked up to other Discords like TC and Common Stack and blah, blah, blah. And so it's like if you tag at everyone and then you publish it from the announcements channel, then it'll show up in other Discords, and it's like another way of getting a message out further.
Except that this is already a report. So like I was hoping that it happened.
Yeah,
but it feels like it didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think it. I mean, we did tweet it, but like based on the responses, it seems like maybe it would be better to just do a little bit more pushing to get more responses.
Yeah, or like emails, specifically email the donors that we have emails for. That would be interesting. Yeah, that's another big suggestion I have for the signing the form, is to have donor email available if they want to provide the email. Yeah. So anyways, I can reach out to Tosin and talk about the sample size and the response rate. And and if you have any comments, you can put it on there, and then we can like synthesize the data afterwards. Yeah. Any other comments about this? So the link is shared on the Connect group chat. Also it's on the Miro board. So okay, let me just share back the next one. Connect. Okay, so next point is strategy. We have the next session on the 14th, I think. Yeah, so hopefully if you have time, it will be really critical if you attend this. If you haven't received any invitation, let me or basically let Rainer know, because he's the one that's sending out invitations. I have one governance issue. How do I reward volunteers? I think Ashley and I have talked about it very briefly, but is there anywhere who I should talk to about rewarding volunteers and how? Anybody knows?
Maybe you can create a forum proposal with some
Okay.
ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the standard to reward? Like for example, Oki did a video for us. What is the proposal should be? Like what should we propose that we reward him for?
So we have like the praise system that we were using before. So it's like anytime you praise somebody, then it like should theoretically become give tokens. Before we were using it to distribute PAM tokens before we launched the Give economy. But then like the praise system had some inherent flaws, like it was using source cred and some other things, but it wasn't like a well-oiled machine. So then the TEC has been working on like improving the praise system and is like almost done fixing the process. Then we were going to take what they did and then bring it into Giveth. So it's like then we go through all of this previous praise data that like we have from before, and then it'll actually require like quantifiers to go through and read all the praise and put like an allocation for like how much, how impactful that was, give it a score, and then that turns into give tokens that we would reward volunteers with. So it's a really cool system, and it's like being used right now in the TC, and then Mitch and Ashley are gonna work on putting it like more into Giveth and like actually like start cat herding quantifiers and blah blah blah. So I think like the first step would be maybe to just check in with them or check in with Mitch, because I know Ashley's just getting back from her vacation. So check in with Mitch and ask him, like when we're going to implement the reward system or kind of the process to go forward with that, because that's really the best way we can reward volunteers. It's really nice because anyone can like praise anyone for for the work that they're doing, and then it's like if it's impactful work, they would get like more give allocation from it. In the past, like just for reference, we've also had like some bounties or some like rewards that were requested, but it's like there's not a really nice process for it. We kind of just like had someone make a trace in the reward DAO, but we don't really use that anymore, and now we have give tokens, so we can reward people and give tokens, but it's like the process isn't clear. So I would check in with Mitch on the praise system, and then the second thing is like maybe just bring it up as well in the governance call and be like, hey, I would love to like push on getting this process organized so we could reward people like Oki.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll check with Mitch.
And just about kind of like bounties and other options for decentralized support to Giveth. I've been looking into the work for builders in general, but anyone can really join. Builders don't have to write code. So anyone that is basically supporting, and the work is a great tool. I'll be happy to show more of it once it's more prepared. I'll take this week to do that. But basically, it can be integrated with GitHub, and it's a dashboard like the ones that we have, and anyone can take other responsibilities, and you can say, okay, like this task can be taken depending by Discord roles, or people can apply, and administrators can choose the people that will do it, or multiple people can just post something, and then you can choose which one is the best one. And the work it's a really lovely tool. I'll talk more about it later on, but if you're interested, I can share some links.
I just can comment. We're just we're learning how to use it. I love it. It's like a simple Trello, except you can connect your wallet and reward bounties for people that are actually submitting the tasks. So I think that's a cool,
interesting
part.
What is it called?
DWORD, DEWRA.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, moving on. We're at time, so if you need to leave, yeah, please feel free. And we're just almost done, anyways. Curation verification. I don't think there's any updates so far, unless Nicola, you have any verification related updates.
I just want to say everybody interested in discussing the projects can join tomorrow.
Oh yeah, verification party tomorrow. Finally. It's been skipped and skipped. So yeah, it's final. Hopefully it's finally happening. Is Ashley going to be there too?
Sure, because
she's on the plane.
Just like she's just landing to the valley tomorrow, so I wouldn't expect her to be able to attend. But at least you and I, it's going to be, and whoever else wants
Nicola
to join.
and I will be there. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And so open issues are the office hour. Kotabi, you said you will do Thursday on the North American time, or South America's time, and I'm happy to do one on Wednesday. So we'll just put that 1 hour time in the calendar, I guess, and make some advertising for it. And then we can
we can send an email or use Twitter. I mean, an email for I think an email works well because we have our audience there. We have like I don't know, I don't remember the exact amount, but we have a lot of emails from projects that have been uploaded.
Okay, so for email, this is related to the self-video instruction too. So for emails, we have the Excel spreadsheet, but who sends email to these people? Should it come from a Giveth email, for example? And should it come from like a MailChimp or some sort?
This is Autopilot. I mean, we can send
Autopilot.
it through Autopilot. Yeah.
Okay, do you know how to do it, Kotabi?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll talk to you on those issues then. I saw, Ahmad, you give me the list for the 25 projects. We want them to make self-video, and I'm happy to draft the email. We just need to send them with the instructions. So I'll draft the email.
Sounds good.
ETH Barcelona, there's no update so far. So we've already got outcomes. We have issues created and new business discussed. I think that's it. Anything else? Any other new business or things to discuss for today? I think we're good. Okay, great. Yay. So yeah, everyone have a nice day, evening, and we'll see you on Thursday or tomorrow at verification party.
Yay,
See you
tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
At what time is tomorrow's verification party?
It is at 5 o'clock CET, I think.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Costa Rican time.
6.
Okay, there you go.
6 my time.
Yeah, what time is a loaded question now. It's like there's so many times.
Is it on the Giveth calendar?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
it is also not on the community channel, it's on the Unicorn channel.
Okay,
that's good to know.
That's where we meet. Yeah.
Okay, great.